What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Fight Maniac Podcast. Thank you guys so much. For those of you that are out there watching, listening, man, I really appreciate all of you guys. So thank you so much. As always, if you want to support the channel, all I ask is that you hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. That will help me out tremendously. And leave me a comment. Let me know if you agree with my takes, my predictions, my 2 cents that I come here and give you guys. So some feedback is appreciated. Just go easy on me. By the way, I just uploaded also a breakdown of UFC 322. So if you haven't already, go check that out. I talked about what went down during the fight night. I talked about what's next for some of the winners, for the losers, for Islam. Talked about the welterweight division, what's absolutely stacked right now. So it was a juicy podcast. If you haven't already, go check it out after this episode. So this one is going to be definitely a smaller episode just because we're talking about just one topic here, but obviously we had the breaking news that Jake Paul, El Gallo, Paul, or El Niño Problema, or the Problem Child, whatever his nickname is, I don't know. I know he changed it a few times. Obviously, he had a fight canceled against Tank Gervonta Davis. So for the majority of last week, it was rumblings of who's going to be Jake Paul's next opponent, who's going to fight next, right? We heard names like Nate Diaz, who would have been a horrible fight, in my opinion, again. We heard names like Francis Ngannou, Ryan Garcia. We heard a few different names. We also saw some fighters, throw their hat out there and say, "Hey, I'll fight Jake Paul." Obviously, if you're any sort of professional fighter right now, any weight class, you're calling out Jake Paul because it's probably going to be the biggest payday of your career. So smart if you did. But the winner, we have a winner for opponent. It's none other than 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony motherfucking Joshua. So, yeah, there you have it. Dude, I mean, this is what fucking reality are we living on, dude? How does Jake Paul go from fighting a man that's 135 pounds to fighting a man that's 250, 60 pounds? Like, brother, pick a lane, dude. Pick a lane. I'm not going to hate on Jake Paul too much. I already did that on my last video, like last week. But I think that just, pick a lane. That's all I'm saying. Pick a fucking lane. We clearly see that he's booking fights. He's choosing opponents just based on the wow factor. Just based on also money, obviously, and pay-per-views. But just not based off skill. I mean, yeah, skill kind of. But it's just a matter of like, pick a lane, bro. Pick a motherfucking lane. I think that also this whole searching for a new opponent wasn't really dictated by him a whole lot as much as we think, or as much as he lets you think. He likes to let you think that he is in control of choosing whoever he wants to fight, right? He dropped the video of like going through opponents and saying, "Oh, Conor McGregor, no, Nate Diaz, nope, Tommy Fury, nope." But in reality, I think that this specific fight, and we saw this also during the Mike Tyson fight camp, was that Netflix, I think, are very, very picky for as far as who they're going to put on their fight card. I think Netflix understand that they are at a capacity, they have the opportunity to produce some of the biggest pay-per-views in boxing ever. So they don't want to just put anybody out there, right? If I remember correctly, the Mike Tyson fight had to be rescheduled. Jake Paul was talking about fighting other people in the meantime, and Netflix said, no, you're waiting. We're fighting Mike Tyson. We're going to push the date a little bit. Same with this. I said this also in my last video breaking this down. So if you haven't watched that, go back. But I said, brother, Netflix is not gonna put Nate Diaz on a fucking main event. That would have to be on the Zone. That would have to be on another platform. Nate Diaz is never gonna be on a Netflix fucking main event, bro. I mean, just imagine fucking just, motherfuckers, hey, motherfucker. Like, that would never happen. So Netflix, I think, has a huge say here on who gets picked, right? And I mean, I think they nailed it, to be honest with you. I mean, I could sit here and find reasons to complain why this fight makes no sense. I'm past that. I think this fight is actually a decent fight. It's probably if not one of the better fights that Jake Paul could have picked as far as opponents go, because any other opponent that was being named was a joke, right? A complete joke. Again, if he fights Nate Diaz, I already fought him. Horrible product. If he fights Tommy Fury, I already lost to him. Not great product either. Francis Ngannou, that one is a bit more intriguing, but again, a retired MMA guy, or not really retired, but another MMA guy with just 2 boxing fights who got absolutely smoked his last time out against Anthony Joshua. I mean, again, a lot of the fights that he was picking were just bullshit. I mean, if you want to talk about the original fight against Tank Davis, again, fucking weight difference of what? Fucking 100 pounds walking in the ring, rehydrated. I don't know. I mean, not 100 pounds, probably like 70 pounds, 70, 80 pound difference. Like, that's a gimmick fight. All of those are gimmick fights, brother. All of those are fights that make no sense. And what I was saying earlier, and I'll give credit where credit's due here in a second. What I was saying earlier is that none of those fights get you closer to a world title. This image that Jake Paul has that he's going to be world champion at some point, for what he said, I think he said at the cruiserweight division, none of these guys get you close to that. None of them. Absolutely none of them. If you really want to be a cruiserweight champion of the world, regardless of pay-per-view, regardless of if it's on Netflix, regardless of wow factor of gimmick fighting, fight a contender in the cruiserweight division. The problem is that I couldn't name you a contender in the cruiserweight division, so that's the problem right there. And unfortunately, he won't do that because there's just not enough financial value there. Maybe once, like, his goal was to just aim at the top, right? Again, he was calling out Canelo, he was calling out Usyk, he was calling out the top of the top, skipping all of the contenders. And that to me is not fair. It's not fair to those contenders that have been grinding for years and years and years to get to where they're at. Not just because this guy has YouTube views, he gets to skip over you. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. It's also irresponsible. A lot of people say, like, this is dangerous because Jake Paul could get killed, right? People die in the ring. I don't think that's going to happen. I absolutely don't think that's going to happen. That's such an extreme take on that. I mean, did you say that when Francis Ngannou fought Anthony Joshua? And arguably, Francis Ngannou had less, to Jake Paul's credit, arguably Francis Ngannou had less boxing experience than Jake Paul. He had the MMA experience, but not the boxing experience. Jake Paul is going into this with at least a few solid years of boxing, of doing enough training camps, of doing enough sparring, being on some somewhat decent fights, still gimmicky fights, but at least having some experience, fighting somebody like Anderson Silva, somebody like Tommy Fury, just to name some of the people that have maybe given him a bit more trouble than others. But a lot of these fights were gimmicky. Now, this one against Anthony Joshua, I think definitely, if more than anything, gives him way closer than ever to a title picture in boxing, right? Which again, you can think of like, if that is fair. Is that fair? Is that unfair? Because again, what about all the guys that are on the queue waiting, right? All the guys that have been grinding, all the contenders that have been grinding, right? I do hear it's an 8-round fight, and I'm honestly fucking sick and tired of these 8-round fights. Make it a 10-round fight, buddy. Make it a 10-round fight. Why not 8? Why not? I mean, why 8? It just makes no sense. Ever since Jake Paul started doing these bullshit fights, it's all been 8 rounds, bro. All 8 rounds. Make it 10. Make it 10. You want to win some boxing fans over? Make him 10 fucking rounds. I mean, I will definitely break down the fight as it gets closer, the week of the fight, and I'll drop a video just kind of doing predictions. But early predictions that I can give you right now is, if Jake Paul wins, we are in a simulation. The fight was rigged. The fucking meteorites are gonna hit the earth. Fucking Michael Jackson is gonna come back to life. If Jake Paul wins, I don't know, dude. I mean, that will be the most bizarre, not even the greatest. Like, I'm not going to call that great. That would be the most bizarre thing in boxing. The weirdest thing in boxing and combat sports ever. I'm not going to say the greatest thing, the greatest challenger, the greatest fighter. It's just bizarre. It's just weird, dude. It's just, we live in a fucking simulation, dude. If Jake Paul wins, I will be legitimately speechless. Legitimately. Because, you know, people are already going to have the narrative like, oh, AJ took the fall. AJ took the money. Like, is that... I don't know if that's the case, dude. I just think that AJ could definitely win this fight. He just has to take Jake Paul seriously. I think this is what a lot of people don't do with Jake Paul, especially earlier in his career. Not anymore now, but earlier in his career, they didn't take him seriously, and that was to his advantage, right? Because he was over-preparing. The other guys probably weren't. Or maybe they just were looking for a payday. I really hope AJ is not just looking for an easy payday, half-assing a fight. I really hope not, dude, because, I mean, Jake Paul is already kind of unbearable right now. Kind of unbearable with the trolling, you know, in the internet. Just, if he defeats Anthony Joshua, he's going to be out of fucking Conor McGregor level 1000 unbearable trolling-wise. I mean, it's going to be insane. I will literally not hop on social media for a solid month just because of the fucking... The trolling he's going to do if he wins, right? If he loses, I think it'll be a great learning opportunity for Jake Paul. A great humble him a little bit, you know, just some humbleness for sure, which he needs. And listen, I'm a bit of a fan, okay? I know I hate on Jake Paul. As long as he's having real fights against really dangerous opponents, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. The moment you start fucking booking Tank Davis, fucking Mike Tyson, fucking Nate Diaz, dude, I'm out, dude. I'm out. I mean, that's why my Jake Paul, like, if I'm a fan or not, is just up and down, dude. Up and down. And I mean, who cares, right? He doesn't really... Obviously, he doesn't give a fuck about me, or he doesn't give a fuck about, I think, half of his fans. He just cares about pay-per-views, dude. And I mean, good for him. He's making all the fucking money in the motherfucking world. So who cares if they like him, they love him, they hate him? to him it's the same. He's making more money being a villain, being the hated guy. He's making more money just having these gimmick fights. And if that's his goal, that's great. But don't sit out here and say you want to be the cruiserweight champion of the world, and you haven't fought a single ranked cruiserweight fighter. So, which you could have done, you could have already done in the past year, right? In the past year, you could have already booked a fight with a cruiserweight, small pay-per-view, but still kind of marketed, still do your rounds. And you could probably defeat a good up-and-comer cruiserweight. I think he definitely has a shot. I think he's definitely would be favorable at defeating some of this, anybody from the top 15 to like the top 5 to start with, right? To start with, if he wants to fight anybody in the top from 15 to like 7, 6, or 5, I think he's favorable to win. And I think he might win, right? And then from there, you work your way up to maybe number 2, maybe number 3 guy. Or who knows, maybe you can just get a straight shot at the title from there. But at least you'll say that you earned it. And at least you'll say that you did it the right way. Because you're not going to get a championship fight fighting Mike Tyson, bro. Or fighting a guy that's 135 pounds. So, as long as he keeps having those gimmicky fights, I'm out. I said this also in my previous podcast, but the biggest loser of all of this, dude, is Tank fucking Davis, bro. Fumbled the bag completely. Completely. The guy lost out on what? 20, 30 M's minimum? Like, brother, I would be so pissed, bro. I would be fuming if that was me, and because I think Tank had actually like a real shot, because you can definitely say something about speed versus size. That's always been the case. I think speed has definitely a great chance, especially because Tank hits hard. For being in the lower weights, he hits really hard. So if he bulks up a little bit, put on like 10 pounds, dude, and you might have a real shot against Jake Paul as far as power, as far as knocking him out. He maybe had a real chance of like just going in and out, jab, in and out, and then set up a nice little hook or uppercut or something, attack the body or something. I don't know, but I guess for right now, I guess we're never gonna see that fight anyway. So yeah, we just have to wait and see what happens. But Jake Paul versus AJ, man, what kind of fucking world are we living, dude? What fucking is going on, dude? Like, what the fuck is actually going on, bro? Jake Paul, first round knockout, official prediction. Psych. But yeah, that's my sense on, that's my 2 cents on all of these guys. So definitely let me know down in the comments if you agree with me. Who do you have winning this fight and why? So thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.